G'day and welcome to the show. From massive stablecoin surge to a surprise Bitcoin buy from a US state. We've got a big one today. Markets, key indicators, and the top crypto headlines. Let's run through the numbers. Today I'm starting with the dashboard that it gets posted every day from the crypto domain. The dashboard contains the key indicators that I look at daily in regard to the market. So we start with the Bitcoin dominance. So look, it's down slightly. It was at about 61.1 yesterday, down to 61. So it barely moved. Pretty stable. ETH's the same. It was at 7.1 down to 6.9. So pretty stable. The Coinbase rank is at 338. Days to the halving. So days from the halving and to the halving, there's some different investment theories. There's like the 365, buying 365 days before the halving, selling 365 days after the halving, buying 500 days before the halving, selling 500 days after the halving, a mixture of the two. There's different things. But what this is telling us is we're now coming up to 365 days from the halving. So people that work under that 365 before, 365 after will be paying attention to that. The fear and greed index, so fear, we're now at 30, again pretty much in line with yesterday, down from 39 last week. The total market cap's at 2.7, which again is in line with yesterday. The volume, however, has dropped slightly. We were at 79.7 yesterday. We're now at 72.2. So we are seeing a bit of a drop in that volume. If we then look at the key indicators that we're watching, although there's been some movement, again, it's been minor across all of those indicators. The net ETF flows, we've had outflows of 183. That should be the 17th of April. If I look at the pi cycle top, so if we pick one of the indicators to look at, might try and do that one every day, sort of mix them up a little bit. If we do have a look at the pi cycle top, here I'm using the chart from Into the Cryptoverse, Ben Cowan's site. Again, I pay a subscription for this. I can't recommend this site enough for the data and the analysis you can actually get out of this. There is a free version where you get a few of the charts, obviously, but this again is a paid subscription to look at a few of the indicators that I really want to look at. The pi cycle top is a really good one. It was created back in 2019 by Philip Swift. It signals basically when the 111-day SMA crosses above the 350 SMA times 2. And that's shown on here by the white lines here. We can see these white lines on the screen. The name pi comes from the fact that from the fraction, the 350 divided by 111 basically gets you as close as you can get to pi being 3.1415, etc. It's really, really good in every market. It's been used to detect the local market tops for BTC. And again, if the ratio is below 0.4 to 0.5, it generally shows that it's a good buy opportunity. Although you will see during time that the peaks are diminishing. So if we look here where it crossed over, you can see when it crossed over, we got some real, we got quite a difference. We got 106 against 87. Okay. If we then go to the next crossover, again, it's diminishing. So we got, where was it? There's 730 or 743 even, 760. So we got the 111-day SMA was a reasonable amount above the 350-day SMA times 2, right? So we can see there it's 761 against 657. Right, and then as we come out here, we can see that diminishes, like where we do get the crossover. Yes, it's crossed over, but it's diminishing slowly over time as a ratio. So, and then again here, even smaller, right? So what we could see through this cycle is Maybe it won't get to a 1-to-1 ratio. Maybe the ratio will be like a 0.9. Now, on these charts, it doesn't give you the ratio. I look here and I actually provide the difference between the two. I'm going to start to put the ratio in here as well, just so we can get a bit of a better feel for that ratio, as opposed to doing the dollar difference. I think the ratio will be better to focus on, so I'll look at switching that up later on as we move forward. Let's move into the market itself, the top 100, which I like to look at every day. It gives me a bit of a feel, at least, for the more stable tokens, in some cases, a bit of a feel for the market as opposed to the, top 1,000 pump and dump, things like that. So I like to have a look at this one. Bit of red for the last hour. Quite a mix for the last 24 hours. It looks like there's a little bit more green for the last 24 hours as we go down the page. Nothing specific is jumping out at me for big moves. I mean, here we got Potenza, 5.2. That's reasonable. Render, 6.9. Both are AI plays. Artificial superintelligence, another AI play at 6.7. Actually, let's have a look at, we'll go and have a look at the categories, which is another tool I do like to look at, which is really, let you have a look at the narratives against each other if you go into up here. So I'm in the CoinGecko. I like to use CoinGecko. So I'm in up here, you go up here and you go down to categories. You can also get gainers and losers, and which is interesting to look at, but let's have a look at the categories. Let's find AI and see, is it the whole category here, or, yeah, so the category itself is at 2.3, dexes are at 5. Let's have a look in here. So the ones we're looking at, Potenza, in here it's saying 7.8, Renders at 9.8, FET is at 7.7. You do have a couple of reds, say, and Graph, again, only just outside the top 100, but a lot of people would have heard of those. AIOZ, I remember, back in the beta stages of that in 2021, I was actually mining some of that stuff. Wish I'd kept it now. Yeah, so, we are seeing some movement in that AI space. I think it is going to be such a big narrative, especially the way, and I talked about it yesterday, the way ChatGPT and things like that, in video, those sorts of things, the way they're getting news and noise in the markets. I think that's going to be a great narrative to look at, to be honest. Let's move on to the crypto bubbles. Let's go look at the 100. So we can see in the 100, you've got Render, Tau, FET. You've also got that Hyperliquid. Again, that's been moving a bit the last few days. So that's a layer 1. It's a DEX focused on like futures trading. There's no KYC, and one of the good things is the users contain control of their assets. So a bit like when people stake their tokens, like for me, the only ones I really stake is my ADA tokens. They've really nailed that whole staking thing, which is the tokens never leave your wallet. So you always have control of those tokens in your wallet. Whereas other ones, you might have to put them on a platform, put them into a wallet or whatever the case may be. So, if you can retain control of your assets, that's really what it's all about. It's your crypto, it's your way. You controlling your funds. It's like if your money's in a bank and they ask what are you going to spend it on, they don't let you take the money out. That can't happen if you have control of your own assets in your wallets. And one of the goals for them is like they're really trying to get this to be as fast as a centralized exchange. HBAR, a 20022 token, making a bit of a move. Again, we still see that mantra's down. What's happening in the 200? This PLSX, that's been showing for the last couple of days. That's a pulse chain exchange. It acts as a fork, I believe, for like Uniswap. There's ARZ. Pyth, again, it's a decentralized Oracle. So like the government utility token for that. Gas is like your fees for Neo, I believe, the Neo blockchain. What else are we seeing here? Okay, let's have a look at 200, 300. This IQ token, I did have a look at that. It's something to do with like it's powers an agent, like a tokenization platform. It's for devs to launch like next token agents or something like that on it anyway. Big time, that's gaming. PAL, it's AI down there. Gaming, bit of it. That was early 2021. That was the gaming, like that was probably one of the main gaming tokens, if I remember correctly. Okay, let's have a look. The next one. And we're definitely seeing a lot more green in the market, which is really, really good. All right, let's move on to some of the news articles for the day. Okay, let's look at the first article for the day. Mantra CEO says new details on OM token buyback and supply burn program. So we already know there's a massive sell-off. So, it dropped from $6.35 to 37 cents. It's a 94% drop. 17 wallets transferred tokens to crypto exchanges. And the support plan features a buyback and supply burn program. The incident caused large losses to OM holders, as we know, 94% drop, obviously. He's committed to burning his team allocation, not his team's, obviously, but his. So that's good. And they're going to build a dashboard with live balances of token buckets for additional market transparency. I think that's really good. Time will tell, though. Like, will this be enough to turn around the sentiment for Mantra? I don't know. I feel like people are really feeling Luna vibes to a degree, or they're still scarred from that if they were around at that time. But we will see. Time will tell. Okay, let's have a look at the second article for today. Stablecoin transactions surpass visas in Q1 from Bitwise. There were more stablecoin transactions in the first quarter of 2025 than there were Visa transactions. That's Bitwise in the Crypto Market Review. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Stablecoin transactions were only a little ahead of Visas, but compared to previous years, it's clear the stablecoin has taken a major leap. It's only going to grow more and more as we get more and more crypto adoption over time. Assets under management surged to an all-time high of over 218 billion, up 13% quarter over quarter. Capitalization of stablecoins has since surged to 237 billion. Wow. Real world asset spike. So we can see here, and it's definitely, BlackRock, Larry Fink, has been speaking about the real world assets. They're behind Ondo, things like that. Spiked from 14 billion to 19 billion. That's up from 9 billion on Q1. So in 12 months, it's up 9 billion. And it's only just starting. So yeah, wow. That's an interesting one. It'd be really interesting to see how this shift actually impacts the broader financial landscape over time. Okay, let's look at the third news article for the day. North Carolina proposal advances to invest 10% of public funds in Bitcoin. So this is interesting, right? This will make them, North Carolina are really on the forefront of states and crypto adoption. It's passed the House Pension Retirement Committee. It's got to clear 3 more committees. So invest 10% of public funds with a market capitalization exceeding 750 billion. Investment would be made through spot ETFs, which is the safest way to do it. They definitely have their place, ETFs, for sure. Yeah, now needs to clear 3 more committees. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. There'll obviously be strict conditions on liquidations of the assets and, the General Assembly percentage vote and things like that. So that'll be a really interesting one to keep an eye on to see how that flows and will that kick off adoption by other states as well. That's, really, really interesting. Okay, and for the final article for today, we'll have a look at. You got Coinbase claims the token Base just launched isn't actually a token at all. So Base, the Coinbase sponsored second layer blockchain for Ethereum, which everyone would be across or know exists. 2 hours. Base is for everyone. Meme coin crashed 88% within 2 minutes. Wow. Not unusual, really. Since rebounded just shy of 10 million. Despite the token crash, Base didn't delete its announcement. Instead, to renew enthusiasm of the disastrous launch. Wow. Coinbase, meanwhile, has claimed that Base did not launch the token. It's not an official Base token. Base not sell this token. And this is my understanding as well, right? Base has no plans for a token. Swarm Project had no plans to launch token. So everyone that's waiting for one or expecting one or they see one, you need to be really, really careful. It just highlights the importance of doing your due diligence in this crypto space. Always verify the origins and the affiliation of tokens before investing. Can't say it enough. First assumption, everything's a scam. Everything is a scam. It's the easiest and safest way to be. CEO Brian Armstrong agreed, saying we're not planning to make any token for Base. So keep that in mind. I mean, I'd never say never about anything, but just first assumption is there is no Base token. They're not going to launch one. So if you see one, it's a scam. And look, let's leave it there for today. Really appreciate everyone tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.